Hey guys, welcome back to the Ace Comic-Con live show presented by Code of Conduct Custom Tattoos. We are joined with one of the most legendary people in this entire convention. Everybody knows him, the creator of Thanos, Drax, Gamora. The list goes on and on and on. Mr. Jim Starlin. And Pip. And
I'm pushing Pip this year.
Yeah, it's a big Pip year. What's coming up for Pip?
Absolutely nothing other than he's in this comic I'm working on right now, the graphic novels that we're running my last Thanos stories.
Yeah.
It plays prominently throughout.
Cool. I want to ask you a question that I'm sure you get asked all the time. What did you think of Thanos in Infinity War?
You know, I came in with no expectations, really, because I realized it was going to be a whole different thing than a comic book, because less characters, 18 movies worth of continuity. So when I went down to the set and then saw the show, I went there with a blank slate to soak it all up. And Brolin was never on my list of potential Thanoses, because I always thought it was going to be just a voiceover job, you know, animated character. That is how they were doing it at that point. And the new technology was only being introduced just about the time that they first introduced him in the Avengers. So I was thinking somebody like a post-cancerous Arnold Schwarzenegger, Idris Elba, anybody with a deep voice.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I had on the agenda as far as I was thinking who to have. But now that Brolin has been on the screen and I've watched him move, and I can't imagine anybody else playing that character.
I completely agree. I read all of the Thanos comics right now, and I hear Josh Brolin's voice. Now when I read Thanos, it was never like that before, but now every time I'm, read the current runs, what Donny Cates is doing with Thanos Legacy, I find myself hearing Josh Brolin's Thanos when I'm reading the book.
Yeah, my hearing of it hits a lot less gravelly than I had expected it in the past to be.
So did they, you mentioned earlier about how they invited you to the set and stuff like that. Did they involve you at all in the kind of the character development, any of the casting decisions, or did they?
Marvel Cinema and Marvel Editorial, there's a strict wall between them. It's probably just as well, from what I've seen in the past of other things.
So it must be such a thrill seeing all of these characters that you spent a lifetime creating finally appearing in live action form on the screen. Is there one particular character you think that Marvel Studios has really outdone themselves with Gamora and Drax and all the others? Well, we haven't seen Adam Warlock yet, but
yeah, I have high hopes for him that he'll still show up. But all three of them, Drax, Gamora, Thanos, Brolin, we've already talked about. He's just as unbelievable as Thanos. Zoe Saldana as Gamora.
Amazing.
She's just so earthy and solid, and it was so heartbreaking to see her going off that cliff. And I knew it was coming.
Did you?
I just went, oh man, it's still affecting me.
They did such a good job. There wasn't a dry eye in the house multiple times in that movie. All the way up to the end, right up to the silent end credits.
Right.
It was such a gut punch.
Batista and Gunn just created this. He's not like any of the Draxes that have been there. He's certainly not like the one that's on the comic books now. The closest one he is the dumb Drax from Infinity Gauntlet. Yeah. With the new guy's look to it.
I want to hold the mic up. I want to make sure we hear this.
He's got an incredible sense of comedic timing that who would have thought?
I know. And then you see him in movies like Blade Runner, and he's got a very dramatic. He's a fine actor.
Yeah. So I had 3 times up, and I've gotten 3 home runs out of the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Warlock can be terrible, and I'll still be happy as the way things are going.
Do you know when we might see Adam Warlock? Any idea of what Marvel has up their sleeves for that? I'm sorry, you can hold your mic up. I just want to make sure you hear this.
We're recording this. The 3rd Guardians movie's on indefinite hold.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen. I have my suspicions of who they're going to use for a director, but I'm not in that loop, so my guess is as good as anything you read online.
Right, because it's changing daily.
Yeah, and so how much of Gunn's script remains, how much of the game plan of using Warlock in this movie and maybe down the line. Marvel has their own master plan. that supersedes all the movies. You know, Feige is basically the captain of that ship.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what he has planned, but I have high hopes that we'll see old Adam coming around.
I really hope so, man. What an amazing character he can be, and Marvel's knocked it out of the park with every single one of your characters. Last question before we go. I know you got a lot of, probably a long line at your table right now. Can you kind of take us back in time and kind of tell our viewers, what was it like working at Marvel back in the 70s, back in the day with Stan Lee and Ditko and all that crew? I mean, what was the general vibe of Marvel? Did you work out of the Marvel office much in New York?
When I first came in, Steve was already gone at that point, and so was Kirby. So it was a new batch that was coming in. It was Kane and Buscema were the big hotshots there at that point. I came in, and basically they didn't have an art director, and so they started paying me to be the de facto art director on a freelance basis. We need this fixed. Do these cover layouts for other pencilers to pencil for the covers. Every morning I would come in, I would look at a bunch of Xeroxes of the different comics that were coming in, and I would design up a cover, and then Stan would come in at noon, and he'd go, "Oh, terrific, but," and we'd change things around, and these things would eventually go off to whoever the artist was, and they would finish it off, and eventually I just started picking up my own work. First one was a love story, 6 pages, with Tom the truck driver, Dick the dude, and Wendy the waitress.
Excellent.
A lot of alliteration in that one.
Right.
And a couple horror stories, and a couple of Iron Man fill-ins. The second of which Stan hated and fired both Steve and Gerber off the book.
Really?
Me and Gerber off the book.
Sounds like Stan was kind of a hard guy to work with from time to time.
He had some very set ideas on things, and he didn't like the way we treated Iron Man.
Oh, man.
So that, but it worked out okay because Roy felt sorry for me and gave me this other book that he didn't figure was going to last long, and that turned out to be Captain Marvel.
Wow. Wow. What an amazing story, man. This has been such a treat. Thanks for taking the time and talking to us.
My pleasure.
Couldn't be more happy with this interview, so I'm just going to wrap it up Avengers style with a nice, quiet credit scene. Thanks a lot.